presented by Eventide Entertainment. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerd Versus. My name is Robert Yetter, and I thank you for joining me today. Now, last week on episode 4, I stated that I would be doing a comparison between Sword Art Online and .hack. Now, this came about from a poll that I was running, and those were the two winners. I planned on brushing up on some .hack throughout the week so I could give a worthy opinion. I'm only briefly acquainted with it. But sadly I did not have time to go through as much .hack stuff as I wanted to. There's a lot of .hack stuff out there. So that episode is going to be coming soon. The waifu and I are going to binge a couple of the series on Crunchyroll, and she's going to show me the games that she has on PS2, just so I can familiarize myself with the franchise before I give my opinion on it. So again, that episode is coming soon, maybe next week, maybe not, but it's coming. This week, I decided to do something that would be a little quicker. I was busy this week. And it's also a good opportunity to give you, the audience, an idea of my taste in video games, as I'll be talking frequently about them, probably in the coming episodes. So, today's episode, I am calling RPG versus RPG, a top 7 list. And I chose 7 because that is the number that most people associate with me. My stage name is Citizen 7. Plus 5 seems too small to get everything, but 10 seems a little bit too big, which would take away from the chance to break some hearts with the games that I left out. So here we go. Number 7 is Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud was developed by Level 5 and released in 2001 in Europe and North America, released in 2000 in Japan. I love this game because of the weapon level up mechanic. It was unique, and I haven't encountered really anything quite like that since. The dungeons were a little mundane and predictable after a while, but that didn't stop the base gameplay loop from being addictive. The game blended action RPG elements with city building elements, and it was all entwined in the dungeon crawling. You had to go through different dungeons to unlock certain things to rebuild the town. And this one's a really nostalgic game for me. What I remember most was using cheat codes to get the rarest weapon up to the highest level and just wrecking everything. I think I used a Game Shark, actually. I think that was Game Shark days. Those are good times. You guys remember Game Shark? See, now that everything's online and everything, Game Shark is pretty much obsolete, or cheat codes in general, but when you're just at home playing games by yourself, like, hell yeah, fire up that Game Shark and go crazy. The Game Shark with any Tony Hawk game. Oh man. It's bringing back some memories here. I'm gonna have to hop on that PS2 soon. I'm craving it. So Dark Cloud's probably a weird entry on this list to most people. But I have so many fond memories of it, so I had to include it. Now, number 6 is Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is developed by ArenaNet and was initially released in 2012, still going strong to this day. I have spent a ton of hours playing this game, and I love Guild Wars 2 for many reasons. One, the subscriptionless platform is awesome. I've tried Final Fantasy Online, and while that game has a lot of content and it's a lot of fun, I don't like the idea of paying $12 a month to play it. But that's just me. There's benefits to either side, right? And you can read about this online, how some companies choose a free-to-play platform over a paid platform. And what Guild Wars was doing at first, Guild Wars is more of a free-to-play platform now, but what they were doing at first was you buy the game and you just play it, and it's online, right? And they were kind of the ones to pioneer that. And, you know, games like Final Fantasy Online have a ton of content that gets updated super frequently. And that's a benefit to having a paid platform. It helps accommodate that. I love the classes in Guild Wars 2 most of all. I think it's the one defining feature of it. They're very unique, and within each you can make several different builds. Go Mesmer, what's up? And even when you go into playing PvP, your skills get expanded even more in that play. They just released a new expansion. I think that was a couple weeks ago. So I'll definitely be back on Guild Wars 2 soon. Got to pick up that expansion. Anyone's free to hit me up if you play Guild Wars 2 as well. You can, do some arena PvP stuff. Okay. My next entry on the list is probably a more expected one with lists of this sort. We're talking about number 5, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim. Right? It's developed by Bethesda and released in 2011. And my most fond memory of this game is how it nearly ruined my life when it came out. I think I picked up the game right around the time that finals were starting for the semester at USC. It's normally the beginning of December. And that's the original USC, friends, not Southern California. We're talking South Carolina, 1801. Get it right. And I remember choosing against my will, that it seemed, to play Skyrim rather than study. And everything worked out, though. I got my degree eventually. Don't worry. But that was a very trying time. It was super addictive. I don't think I really need to say a lot about this game. It speaks for itself. The whole world agrees that it's the golden standard of RPGs. Now, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is Pokemon Gold and Silver. Pokemon Gold and Silver is developed by Game Freak, and it was released in 2000 for North America. Now, Pokemon has always been a huge part of my life. I still play the video games and the card game. Card game has gotten really crazy, by the way. I married someone who has Raichu and Vaporeon tattoos. So it's something that has always had and still has a presence in my life. I don't really care about Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming out, though. But that's off topic. In my opinion, Gold and Silver are the best entries in the video game series. Not only was the game pretty much twice as big, but the Pokemon that they added were actually cool and clever. The recent generations of Pokemon have had somewhat lackluster designs and names. But Gold and Silver were so well done in every aspect. True, the earlier Pokemon games are a little bit more grindy than today's entries, but us RPG folks, we don't mind a little grind. And the core gameplay loop in Pokemon is so addictive anyway. But I think that with the breadth of Gold and Silver, just how big it was, sets it apart from the other games. Actually been looking into getting Soul Silver with the Pokewalker for my waifu. But it's a pretty rare item these days. Chalk up over $100 for that thing. Okay, moving on. And I know I'm going pretty fast. This is going to be a quick episode, guys. Well, let's go ahead and take a break. Listen to some messages from Eventide Entertainment. We'll hear the soothing sounds of Mr. Mike Shea's lovely voice there. So we'll continue with 3, 2, and 1 when we return.
You know, there's nothing quite as satisfying as a good conversation with intelligent company. Join comedian Don Smith every week as he sits down and talks with comedians, actors, filmmakers, writers, and everyday schmoes. It's The Life with Don Smith, Wednesdays at noon on 106.9 FM, and now available on the Eventide Entertainment podcast feed every Friday on Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes. Wednesdays on Eventide, Robert Yetter and Mike Shea sit down and throw albums at each other, talking about them, picking them apart, ripping them a new one. All different artists, all different genres, all different levels of suckage. It's Track Record, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on the Eventide podcast feed. For more information, go to eventideent.com. Are you into making music, videos, or podcasts? Are you a local comedic talent in need of some much-needed publicity? Are you a behind-the-scenes professional interested in audio-video production, graphic design, and public relations? Eventide Entertainment is actively seeking talents, clients, and professionals to help our business grow into something truly special. And we want you to be one of those. For more information, go to facebook.com/Eventide Entertainment or send us an email at eventideent@gmail.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nerd Versus. Thank you, Mike, for your lovely voice. And everyone go check out some Eventide Entertainment stuff. We just rolled out, it's going to eventually be a podcast. It's going to be a creative writing poetry podcast, but we went ahead and made a WordPress, a blog for it. And so it's called The Raven Hour, and you can go to theravenhour.wordpress.com, and you'll see some of the stuff that I have written that's up there already. I wanted to have a place for, Eventide people and some of our friends to have an outlet for their creative writing. It seemed like a natural thing to do. We have so many creative people that we know. So go check that out. Okay, moving on with the list. We've got number 3. And at number 3, I have Diablo 2. Diablo 2 was developed by Blizzard North, and it was released in 2000. Now, Diablo 2 is the prime example of the dungeon crawling hack and slash RPG. If you, listen to an earlier episode of mine, I compared Diablo 3 and Path of Exile, and Path of Exile actually won in my eyes, but I think Diablo 2 is still one of the best RPGs ever, and that's why it is on my list here at number 3. It's one of those rare titles that becomes the atom, as I like to say, that every game that has similar mechanics is dubbed Diablo-like or a Diablo clone. And Dark Souls has kind of fallen into that realm as well. We hear the term Souls-like more and more often these days. You got games like Neo. I don't really count Bloodborne. That's pretty much just a different skin on Dark Souls. The upcoming Code Vein and Lords of the Fallen. Those are all Dark Souls clones, essentially. And so Diablo has spawned so many so many knockoffs, so many clones. It's crazy. And, but Diablo 2 is the shining beacon. It's the highest example of this kind of game. You've got just everything. The classes, the loot, the landscapes, the enemies, the story. Everything in Diablo 2 it's wondrous and it's consuming. And it's perfect. And so it's at number 3 on my list. Now we come to number 2, which is Dark Souls 3. And I just mentioned Dark Souls. It's developed by From Software, and it was released in 2016. Now, I hopped on the Souls train a little later than most. And even to this day, the only entry that I've fully completed is Dark Souls 3. But I think that game is good enough to be near the top of this list. The mechanics, the level design, the class design, the PvP, the bosses, the loot are the best of all the games, in my opinion. Playing Dark Souls is almost like playing an arcade game. It sucks you deeper the more you fail, and when you finally succeed and get to see what the rest of the game is like, it's a really magical feeling. Like, I played up to a certain point twice in Dark Souls 3. I got up to Dancer of the Boreal Valley and just couldn't get past her. It was too difficult. And I was so frustrated because I knew there was so much more game beyond that, and I just wanted to see what it was like, right? The need to get past that pretty much consumed me. There's a lot of Dark Souls haters out there, and my good friend Mike Shea, he's a Dark Souls hater. Mike, and I can understand why, but the game is really addicting and it's so well done. Dark Souls 3 is amazing. I could just play it over and over again, and love the pain. Now, for anyone who knows me personally, I think that they could probably guess what my number 1 is, because it is probably the most amazing game ever created, and that is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, I've played The Witcher 1 and I've played The Witcher 2. Both great games. The Witcher 1, I think they needed to, it wasn't right for, it just didn't feel right is what I'm trying to say, I guess. The combat wasn't as smooth and stuff like that. Graphically, it wasn't quite there. And then The Witcher 2 came out, and graphically that just blows you away for the time, and the story and it was so engrossing. But then The Witcher 3, it just is the culmination of all that, and it's just such an addicting. I keep talking about the gameplay loops, but in The Witcher 3, it's especially addicting. All the quests, the main quests, are super enticing, and even your side quests, you don't feel like they're a drag, you know? A lot of games, your side quests are, gathering or, you know, kill this many type missions, you know, and that gets really redundant. But The Witcher 3, they have so much content in this game that it's crazy. And the combat is difficult, but, not too difficult. Like, it's still fun. It's not frustrating like Dark Souls. If you get the finesse of it, then you do fine. Unless you're like battling someone who's way above your level, and then, you know, that's when you gotta play with the Quen and stuff, and, you know, kind of bob and weave. But I don't know. I could dote on this game for forever. It's just graphically. I play this on PC. I started out playing it on my PS4, and it was great. But when I built my PC, and now I have a 1070 in there, it blows you away. The only other game that looks better than The Witcher 3, I think, is Rise of the Tomb Raider. But The Witcher is right up there, man. The textures and the landscapes are just phenomenal. You can see every leaf and every blade of grass moving in the wind. It's crazy. And, you know, the story, I already mentioned, you know, when you do your main quest, the storyline is just phenomenal. The voice acting is top notch. You know, and it's a very adult game, right? You have nudity, you know, sex jokes, you have gambling, and you have, betrayal. You know, no other game do you get to sleep with a witch and then decide you want to kill her later, right? That's the only game you get to do that in. So The Witcher 3 for me is my number one. I don't think that there's an RPG that is any better. It does everything right. Every mechanic in The Witcher 3 is perfect. I don't see any possible way that it could be any better. Unless if it had a Dark Cloud style, weapon upgrade system. Then maybe. But, we'll see. Okay. Oh, I forgot to say The Witcher 3 is developed by CD Projekt Red, and it was released in 2015. Now, there's a new project by CD Projekt Red coming out, Cyberpunk 2077, something like that. And man, am I excited for that. And it sounds like they're taking their time with the development of it. So I have high hopes for that because I love that kind of, that cyberpunk style, and they put that right in the title. So everyone, that was my RPG versus RPG, a top 7 list. I hope you didn't mind me rambling about some of my favorite games there for a little while. I promise I will do the Sword Art Online and Dot Hack episode very soon. But in the meantime, stay tuned. Please go listen to all the other Eventide Entertainment podcasts. We have 3 new podcasts on the feed. We've got Saltwater Gaming with Ellison Smith. We've got The Drive-In with Aaron Lopez. And what just dropped on Sunday was The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen. They're all doing fantastic jobs, so go listen to their podcasts. I thank you for listening to Nerd Versus and my other podcast, Track Record, with Mike Shea. Shout out again. Beautiful voice. It's good. And, everyone, lovely Lillian, we will see you next week.